Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum. So for today's video, I'm going to be introducing you to something new in my collection. This is the Heidi Swapp Memorydex and a couple of the associated bits and pieces. So I'm going to show you what it is and how I've been using it. So let's jump in. So this is something that I kind of discovered while going through Instagram and kind of wanting a new way to be creative. Like I've got my junk journals and I've got my planners, but not that they're restrictive, but they're not so much for the displaying, I guess, of things that I create. And cards are really good for that, but I only have so many people that I can give cards to. So this is a bit of another way to display things. So this part of it, this is called a Memorydex. This is by Heidi Swapp, and from everything I've heard, it's actually really old. And the other reason I know that is because this was really hard to get hold of. So this actual part of it is the actual sort of holder of it, and the little cardboard bits, which look like this, sit in here. So this is taken from like an old Rolodex. If you're old like me, you'll actually know what a Rolodex is. If you're not old, it was a way that people used to store their names and addresses and phone numbers of people back in the old days. So the idea is here that you decorate these bits of cardboard. I also bought the dies, so I've got the dies. The dies were from Spotlight. I ended up getting them for like $7 for a set of 2 because they were on clearance. They were hard to get hold of, though. I had to like ring 5 or 6 different stores to find them, but I did find them, and they cut out the shapes absolutely perfectly. There is also a punch that will do the same thing with the bottoms here. I couldn't find that in Australia, and if someone has one, let me know because I'll buy it from you. But there are 4 different shapes of these dies. You can obviously, if you want to just sort of cut the shape out yourself, you can do that. The only part of this so far that I'm not enjoying is I find it hard to make these sit up, but I'm assuming when I get them going and when I've got more in here, then they will do so. So I've cut out a bunch of cards for now that are just sort of sitting on there that I'm decorating as I go, and then I have actually done a couple. So I'm going to show you the couple that I've done, and then I'm going to make one on camera. Most of the time this is going to be stuff that I'm going to do off camera. This is sort of more for me when I want to create, when I want to experiment, when I want to try stuff. But I will show you either in like a monthly Memorydex kind of video that I do at the end of the month, or like in my lives. I'll do it somewhere in there. So this is the first one I did. This was me experimenting on a couple of different levels. It was me experimenting with the alcohol markers, which was the rainbow mane that didn't quite work out, but still looks cool. It was also experimenting with the ink blending with the Distress oxides that Denise lent me, and also with then the embossing for the little stars. So this was kind of a blending of a bunch of different things to try, and this is what I want to do with these cards. This is sort of my idea here, is that I can experiment and can try things and see if they work. I have another 2 experimental ones. So this one is again with the ink blending and a little bit of watercolor. So the background is ink blending, and then I just left out this little moon shape, and then I've watercolored in the moon. That came from an idea. I did see that on someone's Instagram, and I want to play with taking inspiration from Instagram a bit more, so I will start remembering where I'm getting them all from. And then this is just a Kaiser Craft sentiment from I think that was the Stargazer collection. This one I did not do a good job of. This was me playing with my new watercolors. I put on a sticker, but then I went a little bit too hard with the gold Kaiser mists. Whoops. But that's the other thing. I want to really be able to see how I go and to push boundaries and stuff. The other thing I want to do, and what I'm going to do in this video as well, is I want to start using some of my leftovers from my Planners Anonymous kits. So I've got every kit, so it's about time I got out some of my scraps and actually started using them. So these are 2, and I'm going to make 2 with each kit because I feel like 2, and I probably can make more if I want to, but 2 is where I want to start. 2 little Memorydex cards for each kit. So this one's from Seaside, which was the very, very, very first one. Oh, I still remember unboxing that for the first time and how happy it made me. So the first one here is obviously just with that's with the watercolored paper that I've torn deliberately to make it look like waves, and then just poked in some of the cute little boats that came with the collection. And then this one's the Calm Your Palm. That was actually a box that I cut up to get the Calm Your Palm down the side. So I really like those 2 actually. I think that Calm Your Palm one actually might be my favourite, even though I think I like that one more to start with. And then the other one This is from Treat Yourself. Yes, Treat Yourself. I love the way that brick worked out. So the background there is ink blending with, I don't remember what colour. And then I've stamped on the bricks, because the bricks actually came, I've actually got the kit because this is the one I'm going to use. The bricks actually came in the stamp set. I love these stamps. You can tell I use them a lot because they're actually really badly discoloured, but they still work beautifully. So I just did that with grey. I stamped them all on with grey and then watercoloured them all in with my watercolour paints, each one brick by brick. And I kind of let them get this distressed, kind of messy look, because that made it look more like a brick wall as far as I was concerned. And then just put the stickers on the top, which ended up looking really, really cool. So what I thought I'd do, just to sort of show you what I mean by experimenting and stuff, I'm going to grab in my mat. I'm going to grab this bit of this die cut card that I've already done. I think I want to use that one. I always just make sure I haven't used it recently. No, I don't want to use that one. I'm going to use this one. Now, someone who does a lot of die cutting can help me out and tell me why my die cutting machine is leaving kind of these imprints on the back of my cards. I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so we're using the Treat Yourself collection, so we do using a lot of purples and browns and these sort of colours. So I want to use one of these coffee cups because I just think they look so pretty, and I've always wanted to use them and I kind of never have. But I'm also going to grab a couple of Distress Oxides. I don't know which colour I'm going to like here, so I'm going to play with both of them. Plus, I've never really ink blended on camera before, so this will be kind of fun. So this is what I've been using for my ink blending. This is it's actually a makeup brush from Daiso. You can use makeup brushes. This is the other thing I've been experimenting with, watching heaps of YouTube channels, and people sort of tend to do a bit of both. Some people use kind of makeup blending brushes. Some people use the actual sort of blending tool. I didn't like the blending tool. It just didn't quite do what I wanted it to do. So I sort of keep going with this makeup tool because it works and it gives me the result that I want. Don't mind that it's making a mess because it's really easy to wipe off and it doesn't transfer, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just giving it this sort of distressed yellow look first, and then I might go in with a little bit. So this one's antique linen, and then I might go in with the sort of brown colour afterwards. So something I have learnt while playing with this is that the ink does react a little bit with my fingers. So the oil that you've got on your fingers will react a little bit with the oxides. So as much as possible, I just try not to touch it, and that way it doesn't sort of do anything funny. And I'm just blending that till I like the result. And I think I'll just put the brown around the edges. So I'm not gonna panic too much about the not being as much brown on this side. So I'm just being really light to start off with because I don't know what it's gonna look like. So from there, I've got my colour down there, so I'm going to grab this bit of paper. I'm going to just cut out all of these little coffee cups. Alright, so I'm not going to cut out any more at the moment, just because I think these 3 are kind of enough. But what I was thinking when I was sort of doing all of that is what the other cool thing that I have in this stamp set is that there is actually this cute little coffee bean. There's also like a bunch of build your own coffee kind of, and build your own donut as well kind of things. But what I thought I'd do is stick these down. So I'm going to have one sitting there on the edge. This one's actually going to sit up. I'm going to put that on some foam tape and have it sit up. And that way this one can kind of sit, I'm going to have it sit there, and then I'll cut out the tab shape. So it'll sit like that. And then I think I'll stamp around this little coffee thing. I'm just going to grab another ink pad. So this is my little sample ring that I made myself when I thought I had to give back the inks back really fast. So I kind of stamped them all, put them all on some paper and then cut them out with some die cuts just so I knew what colours were what, and then I can sort of play with them a little bit. And then if I need to borrow one or I want to buy one, I kind of know exactly what colour and what one I want to buy. So I'm just trying to find a brown that I feel like looks like a coffee cup, like looks like coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I don't quite know why I'm doing this coffee, but that's the theme. Okay, I think I'm going to use I think it's called frayed. No, it's not frayed. It's this one. It's called walnut stain. So I've got to grab that one. So I'll grab that in. This one's a little bit darker than some of the others, so I think frayed burlap and vintage photo would also look okay. But I'm just going to do it this way. So I'm going to stick these two down first, and that way I know where I'm stamping and I can avoid them. So we'll start off with this one. So I'm just using normal glue tape for this, nothing too fancy. You could decorate these front and back. I'm just doing them on one side at the moment, but who knows, I might get really fancy somewhere along the way and decide to do both. So I am a little worried about this one because I'm worried when I put it down that the tab shape will look really funny, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm also very aware of that very straight line, and I'm just trying to like disguise it as much as I possibly can. So let's cut that shape out. You could obviously run this through the die cut again. I don't really think it's worth it just for this little bit. This one might just look a little different to the others. No, that still looks alright. Alright, and then I'm going to stamp around the coffee bean all around the place and then put this one back over the top. There's a little coffee bean decoration. I actually really love that. And if we put that, I was actually kind of thinking as I was doing it that it might be better in the middle here, and then I can put a quote in the corner. So I've got I still have so much of this kit left over, it's just ridiculous. So I've got a bunch of, I've got two here I think. So I've got sweets for my sweet, which I don't think really works with the coffee, and then I've got, first I do the coffee and then I plan all the things. And what I'm sort of secretly thinking is maybe I put this down in the bottom corner and cut it off, or maybe cut out one of these other ones that's sort of not a full circle and then put that right in the middle, because that actually I think looks better, and put that up. We're going to do that. So I'm just going to grab this coffee cup in the corner, just cut this one out really quick and stick it down. I'm going to stick it down deliberately sort of in that corner a funny way around so that it covers everything up, and then I'll cut out the little nook bit and off all the excess. Now this is the part where perhaps die cutting this afterwards might work better, so that way you still get the correct shape. I reckon I can still cut it with just some scissors and a knife. It's just obviously not going to be quite as precise as it probably was to begin with, but that's okay. You don't really notice the little nook thing, it's just the way it holds on. And we'll just get some foam tape and just put this down in the middle. I'm just going to have that just slightly at an angle so that it doesn't hit these little bits, and I'm going to leave it at that. I love that background. That really does look really nice, and I love the coffee beans. I think it's actually not worked out perfectly, but it's pretty damn good. And then when you put it on here with all the others, which I'll put the other one on in a second, It's just designed to sit a little bit like that. It's just designed to be something pretty to look at. And the cool thing is that you can change these. You can flip them around. If you don't like that one that day, well, you put this one on and it looks like that. Or you put this one on and it looks like that. And I love it. I think it's such a clever idea. So I'm really looking forward to sort of making some more of these. If you guys are interested in seeing these, please let me know and I will make sure to feature them a little bit more often on my channel. This is how I'm going to use all my scraps, how I'm going to use all of my old Planners Anonymous stuff. So if you're a fan of old school Planners Anonymous and a little bit of Kiki K, maybe that's where you're going to probably see a lot of this coming up. So if you have any requests, leave them down below for me as well, or you can find me on any of my socials. Next week is an absolutely gigantic week here on Plum Mashable. There is a gigantic, fantastic, wonderful announcement on Monday, followed by my live on Wednesday. It has moved days this month, so it will be on Wednesday night at 8 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm 90% sure that maybe there might be a box that arrives at my house next week, so that'll be pretty cool to experience as well. So I hope you do come back. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic, fantastic weekend, and I will see you again for decoration on Sunday. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!